super fun, and all about artisan cheese and more to melt your peaceful heart and toast your peaceful life. Coming to you from the Appalachian Mountains of southwestern Virginia, this is the Peaceful Heart FarmCast.
Hey, this is Scott Hall from Peaceful Heart Farm, and you are listening to the Peaceful Heart FarmCast.
Hello, everybody. Melanie Hall here. I hope you are doing very, very well. The conversation today and every day revolves around the value of tradition, traditional life, traditional food prep and storage, traditional cooking, and of course, traditional artisan cheese. And topics discussed here are designed to create new perspectives and possibilities for how you might add the taste of tradition to your life. And I was sick a few days ago, and it's been years and years since I've been sick with anything, and even longer since I've had any kind of stomach or gastrointestinal illness. And today's topic is going to be about a traditional home remedy for stomach virus and poisoning and other things. And I was reminded today at the farmer's market when I was speaking one herbalist to another. She was in the booth next to me. That activated charcoal is a simple treatment to use, and I'm going to talk all about that today. But first, welcome all you new listeners. Welcome back, veteran homestead-loving regulars. Thank you so much for stopping by the FarmCast. I appreciate you all so much. And first up on the agenda, I am so excited to share with you all the great activity going on at the farm this week. And today's recipe is going to be ginger tea with honey and lemon. So that's for a little bit less of a stomach issue, but that's still going to be revolving around soothing the stomach. So let's talk about the homestead life. I have 47 quail eggs in the incubator. Yes, 47. These little guys are a joy to raise. They are so hardy. We started with 24 hatchlings in the first batch, and we still have 23. The only one we lost was due to a snake. It was a black snake that got into the cage, and I don't know how that little tiny snake thought it was going to consume that giant bird, but I think it did get enough of the bird's head in its mouth to smother it or something. I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know how it killed the bird, but there was one dead in there. But and so with baby chickens, almost always you lose one or two or more due to like a failure to thrive or some other early disease, but not so with the quail. And we had them outside before they were even 2 weeks old. They were almost fully feathered, and they were fine out there. The temps were like in the 70s during the day and maybe high 50s, low 60s at night. No, these are hardy birds. And in less than 3 weeks, we will have new quail babies. Now, the creamery has reached an exciting place. The concrete block walls to the milking parlor are complete. So the first section of the first section was the concrete wall that was for the milking barn, which is connected to the milking parlor. So all of the concrete blocks are together there for that. And so Scott spent a bit of time moving the milking parlor equipment into that area. And for the longest time, it's just been stored off to the side, just waiting for this moment. And I don't know when the actual installation will happen, but it's exciting to see the first portion of the creamery coming into being. And in addition to the milking parlor equipment installation, it still needs a roof. There is still so much to do. And there's a video on Facebook, Peaceful Heart Farm, facebook.com/Peaceful Heart Farm, and you can see a short tour of that part of the building. Now let's talk about the cows that are going to be using that building. The cows are moving along and munching down on all that grass. And if you've never been around cows, you are missing the perfect example of peace in action. One of the reasons that I wanted a milk cow in the first place is the sense of peace that comes from working with them. And there's no closer relationship than when you're milking them, and they are truly beautiful creatures. They're a bit smelly a lot of times, but they're beautiful. And we still have one more bull calf available. You can call us at 276-694-4369. 276-694-4369 to get more information on these guys. There are 2 to choose from, but we're only selling one. The last one we will keep for beef. He will take a couple of years to grow out. But these Normandy cows make some great steaks and roasts. Speaking of beef, we have a limited quantity of beef available. This will be the last for a while, so get in touch with us now if you're interested in getting a quarter or a half. A quarter is $7 a pound. It's about 100 pounds, so it'll be about $700. A half is $6.50 a pound, so that's going to be $1,300, and that will be about 200 pounds of beef. The lambs. We got lambs and goat kids. They're frolicking around in the grass and they're growing like weeds. It's amazing how fast they grow. The lambs and kids are nearly the height of their mothers already. Watching them get down on their knees to nurse is quite comical. I don't know, it really doesn't look like so much fun for mom, but those moms, they seem to patiently endure. And these lambs and kids are all old enough to be weaned, and we will separate them in the next couple of weeks. I already have the bucklings out, but the ram lambs, we have to get those out in the next few weeks. It's important to get those boys out of there. Otherwise, we end up with unauthorized breeding, and we can't have that. Nope, we can't have that. Let's talk about the garden. The tomatoes are coming on strong. I have lots of them sitting on shelves ripening. I would prefer to pick them when they're already ripe, but the raccoons right now are making that impossible. Every night they go out into the garden and they pick a few, and they take a bite or a 2 out of them, maybe just a bite or 2, maybe even 1 bite. And then they get another one and take a bite or 2 out of that one, and so on. And these guys are grabbing them before they even get all the way red. I wonder if they'd like fried green tomatoes. No matter. I've taken things into hand and am just circumventing their intrusiveness and picking the tomatoes as soon as they show any sign of ripening. And then I put them on shelves in the window, and they'll still be really, really good. And the plan is to make lots and lots of tomato sauce. I made some last year for the first time. It was much easier than I thought, and I look forward to making more this year. I use tomatoes, canned tomatoes, in stews, and I use a lot of tomatoes in stews. I use up to 4 quarts. Like in a 4-gallon batch of stew, I would have 4 quarts of tomatoes in there. But if I use tomato sauce, I think I can use maybe 2 pints instead. Or maybe I'll use 4 pints, which would be 2 quarts, and have a thicker tomato. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. But anyway, either way, it's going to be much less storage space for those canned tomatoes when they're in the form of tomato sauce. They'll also be in smaller jars because I would use smaller portions of tomato sauce. Now, last night we shelled Mississippi Silver Crowder peas. There's a large bowl ready to be cooked and eaten, and there will also be some left over to be canned. Now, I love growing these. The plants are resistant to everything, and they put on lots and lots of pea pods. The pea pods are like 7 or 8 inches long. They got about 20 peas per pod. They shell easily, and they taste so good. They can be dried and cooked similar to black-eyed peas, but I prefer these to be green, and I like to add a few snapped green pods in there. And again, they're very easy to grow, and they produce very well. And so we eat a lot of them fresh, and then, of course, I have them canned as well. The orchard is going along really well. We had a neighbor come over and pick some blackberries a few days ago. I simply do not have time to deal with them or pick them. And processing them also would come after that. So blackberries are a lot of work, as you might know. I don't like the seeds, and I always take the extra steps necessary to get the seeds out. And it's not really hard to get the seeds out, but it's time consuming. And And besides that issue of time, I still have tons of blackberry jam and blackberry syrup from last year. Our blackberries are always prolific, so if I skip a year, We grow several varieties of thornless blackberries, and they're very large and juicy berries. They're really good. I'm probably leaving out a bunch of other stuff that's happening here, but I'm going to close off the farm updates for this time. Oops, wait a minute. The farmers markets. I almost forgot to mention the farmers markets. Come see us at the Wytheville Farmers Market on Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. to noon. Starting this Friday, you will also find us at the Independence Farmers Market from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. I'll have lamb, beef, and goat, as well as lots of information on herd shares. And who knows, maybe even I'll have some cheese samples. I was going to start at the Independence Farmers Market this past Friday, but I had an incident that has not happened in many, many, many moons. I had a stomach virus. Or perhaps it was that salami. I don't know. It was one or the other, something I ate or some kind of a bug or virus. In any case, I was sick as a dog for a good 12 hours or more, and then probably another 12 hours where I was kind of weak and not doing so well. So let me tell you that story, and let me provide some info on the perfect remedy. So, as I mentioned earlier, while at the Wytheville Farmers Market, I spoke with another herbalist. She was in the booth right next to me, and she reminded me of activated charcoal when having issues with stomach upset. In the heat of the sickness, I was trying to think of what to do, and I was so sick. I couldn't remember, and I couldn't even keep water down. And I couldn't remember what I had on hand to deal with it, and I just couldn't think of anything that I would want to put in my stomach. And then she promptly said activated charcoal, and it was one of those face palm moments. Of course, I have tons of it on hand. I mean tons of it for exactly that purpose. Number one, I'm almost never sick, and number two, my head hurt so bad I couldn't think straight. And my stomach was just not accepting anything. So it was just like, oh, I don't want anything. But oh my gosh, if I could have remembered that activated charcoal, I think it, could have significantly lessened the amount of time that I was just horribly sick. Now, I did act on the headache. My sinuses were inflamed, and I don't know why. I mean, this was in my stomach, right? But my face, every sinus in my face was just on fire and just aching. And I was sure that I had a massive head cold that was about to take me out for days. Well, I took out my trusty Echinacea and Golden Seal formula, and I dripped some directly into my nasal passage. It burns, just a couple of drops in each nostril, and poof, it was gone. No more sinus issues. Yeah, if I could only have thought so quickly about the activated charcoal. And it's a matter of what I use more often and what I have never had the occasion to use. Now, I've had the occasion to use it, but didn't. But it's unlikely that I'm going to forget it next time. So let me give you the goods on activated charcoal and why I have it in my medical arsenal. So it's activated charcoal. And so charcoal isn't just for your backyard grill. And even though most of us think of glowing embers and yummy barbecued kebabs or steaks, it has stomach-soothing medicinal properties too. The CDC reports that 19 to 21 million Americans will get the stomach flu, and charcoal might just help you get back on your feet faster. This is actually even being recommended by doctors. So even though this is a traditional remedy, it has some basis. I don't think they have the science to back it up, but the doctors, they still know. They use it in emergency rooms for poison. And I'll get to that in just a minute of why that is. So let's talk about, first of all, the stomach flu. It's referred to as a stomach flu, stomach bugs, food poisoning that it can be caused by bacterial infections or viruses. And so the inflammation of your gastrointestinal tract, it might be referred to as gastroenteritis, sometimes norovirus. But in either case, the symptoms include nausea, vomiting, and or diarrhea. I had all of those things. The illness comes on quickly, and it can have you off your feet from 1 to 3 days. And common treatment recommendations include drinking fluids, getting rest, and following the BRAT diet. That's bananas, rice, applesauce, and toast. Now, none of those are on my eating list. So an old Native American remedy would have been a much better option for me if I would have thought of it. So what is activated charcoal? Well, activated charcoal is made with a variety of burned materials, including bamboo, wood, coal, or coconut shells. And as I said, this treatment was used by Native Americans hundreds of years ago. There's even some record of it being used by Egyptians. Activated charcoal is processed at high temperatures, and it results in a black powder that's incredibly effective at absorbing a variety of substances. Charcoal is, quote, activated when a high temperature is used in combination with an activating agent that expands its surface area. And that's what gives activated charcoal its incredible absorbing powers. It becomes very porous. It just kind of sucks out the poisons into that porous area, and then it moves through the bowels and out. So why do people take activated charcoal? Well, it's most commonly used to treat poisoning and drug overdoses. They used it in the emergency room for poisoning and drug overdoses. But now it's gaining attention as a remedy for stomach bugs that cause nausea and vomiting. And the theory is that the activated charcoal can absorb the bacteria responsible for causing the flu the same way that it is used to absorb poisons. It completely takes it away from your stomach lining and into that charcoal. This is a very, very fine powder, by the way. And I'll talk about that in just a couple of seconds. So you can have a virus that can cause the same kinds of stomach troubles that you would get with the flu or poisoning and those kinds of things. And so activated charcoal may help with the symptoms. All right, now you can buy it online in capsules or powder. That powder is a very fine powder, very, very fine powder. So the capsules are the best way, even if you do open the capsule and take it that way. Yeah, so if you feel the nauseating symptoms of a stomach bug coming on, or if you're actively vomiting, you can put the powder in some applesauce. If you have capsules, you can open them up. Now, the most common recommendation is 500 to 100 milligrams, 2 to 3 times per day. Now, if you're taking other supplements, it's recommended take them at a different time because the charcoal can absorb good nutrients as well as the bad stuff. And if you notice any worsening symptoms after taking the supplement, stop and call your doctor. All right. It's important to note that activated charcoal also should be bought from pharmacies and health food stores. It's not like regular charcoal. You can't just go buy charcoal. You want activated charcoal. It's food grade and it's safe to take internally. You can give it to children, but check with your pediatrician beforehand. If you get the okay, then you can start with a quarter of a capsule, and that would be about 200 milligrams in some applesauce, and repeat it no more than 2 times a day. And if you or your child continue to have abdominal pain, or maybe you have a persistent fever, you must see your doctor. Home remedies are great, but they are not the be-all, end-all for medical treatment. If you don't, there are dangers with vomiting and diarrhea of the biggest one being dehydration. So if it doesn't improve right away, then you need to go to your doctor. Now, there are always side effects, and let's talk a little bit about safety. It's safe for most adults when used short term. Side effects might include constipation and black stools. There are some more serious side effects: slowing or blockage of intestinal tract and regurgitation into the lungs, and dehydration. Again, it's absorbing things out of your digestive tract, but those are more rare. So some other precautions and warnings: pregnancy and breastfeeding. Activating charcoal might be safe when used short term if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, but consult with your healthcare professional before using it if you're pregnant. Now, don't use activated charcoal if you have any kind of intestinal obstruction. Also, if you have a condition that slows the passage of food through your intestine, which is reduced peristalsis, don't use activated charcoal unless you're being monitored by your health care provider. So as long as you're a relatively healthy individual, you are going to be fine with this. Just, keep in mind, there are always issues. No matter how natural the remedy is and how safe the remedy is, there can always be problems. Now, let's see. I mentioned your other supplements that you might be taking, but also medications that you're taking that might interact with activated charcoal. Basically, it's absorbing the substances in the stomach, and so if it could decrease how much medicine your body actually absorbs and decrease the effectiveness of your medication. So 1 hour, wait 1 hour at least after you take your medications before taking any activated charcoal. Alcohol can sometimes it's sometimes used to prevent poisons from being absorbed into the body, but taking alcohol with activated charcoal decreases how well it works to prevent that poison absorption. All right, so just be aware of that with alcohol. Now, there's the thing called syrup of ipecac, and that is it's a medication that's taken by mouth, and it causes vomiting after suspected poisoning. It's also used to treat bronchitis associated with croup in children, and amoebic dysentery, which is a severe kind of diarrhea, and cancer. So ipecac, it can also be used as an expectorant to thin mucus and to make coughing easier. And even small doses are used to improve appetite. So what happens, though, is activated charcoal can bind up syrup of ipecac in the stomach. And then if it binds it up, if it takes it in, then it's going to decrease the effectiveness of it. Now, that's the lowdown on activated charcoal. For lesser stomach issues, there are lots of teas that can help. And today's recipe is ginger tea with honey and lemon. So ginger tea has been used for thousands of years as a cure for nausea and digestive problems. It offers a variety of health benefits and healing compounds to alleviate your stomach upset. Many people reach for ginger ale when they're feeling symptoms of stomach pain or nausea. But ginger tea contains higher concentrations of the compounds that alleviate these digestive issues. So that makes it a better choice for feeling better faster. This tea is made using fresh ginger root, and it packs a punch when it comes to healing symptoms of upset stomach. Ginger is a natural remedy for nausea and is often used to treat morning sickness in pregnant women and motion sickness caused by planes and boats. In fact, a Thai study examined pregnant women with symptoms of morning sickness and found that 28 out of the 32 individuals saw an improvement in nausea when given a daily dose of 1 milligram of ginger root. 28 out of 32. As a rule of thumb, 1 cup of ginger tea contains about 250 milligrams of ginger. So you're aiming to drink 2 to 4 cups of this tea to alleviate your feelings of nausea. So this is ginger tea with honey and lemon. You need about 1 inch of ginger root, fresh, grated. You're going to need a half a lemon, honey to taste, and 2 cups of water. All right, so you'll need a grater, you need a glass container or a teapot, and a strainer. So you're going to peel 1 inch of fresh ginger root and grate it into the glass container with a filter, and then thinly slice the lemon and add it to the container with the ginger, and then add a bit of honey, or you can add that later, but pour the boiling hot water into the container, and you're just going to steep that for 5 minutes. Strain it and serve it hot. That's all there is to it. And again, so you're going to do 2 to 4 cups of this. And this particular recipe obviously is 2 cups worth. 2 cups of boiling water to make this. All right, final thoughts. Are you keeping up with all the stuff that's going on at the homestead? I know it's a lot to handle, but we love it. The cows, sheep, goats, donkeys, and quail are a barnyard variety that keeps us in a constant state of wonder and amusement. These guys are a hoot. We love sharing it all with you. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and come see us at the Farmers Market in Wytheville and Independence. Heck, come see us on the farm Tuesday mornings and Saturday afternoons. We'd love to share some of this more directly. And get some activated charcoal. Keep it on hand for that occasional stomach upset. It doesn't go bad. There's no expiration date. It is the poorest form that absorbs the toxins, and that doesn't change once it's created. It's just a porous substance that sucks in those toxins. And remember that the mild upsets can be alleviated with a little ginger tea. If you enjoyed this podcast, please hop over to Apple Podcasts, subscribe, give me a 5-star rating, and please, please, please put a review in there. It helps so much for Apple to bring it up in their search algorithms when people give reviews. And also, please share it with any friends and family who might be interested in this type of content. As always, I'm here to help you taste the traditional touch. Thank you so much for stopping by the homestead. And until next time, may God fill your life with grace and peace.